Sisters, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this wicked cute Father's Day shirt with your Cricut machine. I'm using a Cricut Maker to do this project. You could also use a Cricut Explore or the Explore Air 2 or the Explore Air 3. This would be a little challenging to make with the Cricut Joy because the Cricut Joy only cuts like 4.5 inches wide. But if you separated it into different pieces, you could probably do it that way. But I would definitely recommend the Maker or the Explore series to do this project. I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that you need to know on how to complete this project. And I'm going to tell you all of the materials that you need. So to start off, you'll need a shirt. I got this shirt from Michael's and it's on sale right now. There are 2 for $7, which is a great deal. You'll also need a roll of heat transfer vinyl. I would recommend using Siser EasyWeed heat transfer vinyl. It's the only kind of vinyl that I ever buy. I always buy white and black in the biggest rolls because those are the colors that I use most. As you can see in that shirt, it was white vinyl. I also use the Cricut trimmer to cut my vinyl, and then you'll need a mat to stick it to. Since the shirt that I'm putting the design on is pretty big, it's a 3XL, I need to make my design big. So I'm going to be using the 12 by 24 inch mat so I can cut my design to be 14 inches long. You'll also need some basic tools like your weeding pen and a pair of scissors and your spatula. Another thing that you need to make this project is a heat press. I'm using the auto heat press from HTVRont, but any heat press will do. Before I went and invested in a good heat press, I was actually making shirts with just one of those old like hand irons that you use on your clothes. That works too. But if you're going to be selling shirts, I would not recommend making shirts with a hand iron. I would definitely make your shirts with a heat press so that they last longer. I'll have a link down below in my video description where you can find a list of all the materials that you need to make this project, and also a link where you can find the design that I used. This project is super easy to make. It took me probably 20 minutes from start to finish. I got this design from Creative Fabrica. If you watch my videos, I'm sure this is no surprise to you. I get all of my fonts and designs from Creative Fabrica because they are simply the best. I canceled my Cricut Access subscription. Creative Fabrica has everything I need and it's half the price. And everything comes with a commercial license, so if I want to sell my projects, I don't have to worry about getting sued. And I also love getting them from Creative Fabrica because I don't have to keep track of separate licenses from all over the place. Like before, I used to get some designs from like Etsy and then some other ones from Cricut and various places. But how do you keep track of all of these different licenses when you're selling? Like, it got really confusing. So once I discovered Creative Fabrica and they had everything I needed with commercial license included, it became a no-brainer. They're my one-stop shop for everything. If you've never used Creative Fabrica before, you can sign up for a free 1-month trial through the link down below in my video description. And then if you decide that you love them and want to sign up for a subscription, you can sign up for their all-access subscription, which gives you unlimited commercial access to like everything on their website, all their fonts, graphics, project mock-ups, everything you need, and it's only $4.99 a month right now. Normally, it's $29 a month, and I paid that for years, but they have the best deal going on, just $4.99 a month. It's billed as a one-time fee of $59, and it's nice because next year, when it's time to renew, you can renew at that discounted price, which saves you hundreds of dollars. Before we move over to the computer, I would love if you smash that thumbs up button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure you have your notification bell turned on so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. This is a design that I'm using to make my Father's Day shirt. If you already have their all-access subscription, downloading things from their website is super easy. All you have to do is click this big green download button, double-click the zip file that pops up in the lower left-hand corner. If that doesn't pop up on your computer, you can also try looking in your downloads folder. Then open that, and I'm going to click on the SVG. Right-click, Save As, and then save it to whatever folder on your computer you choose. Now I'm going to move over to Cricut Design Space where I'm going to upload this. Once you're in Cricut Design Space, you can go over and click Upload, then Upload Image, Browse, and then select that file that you just saved and click Open. Then you can click Upload, select it, and click Add to Canvas. Right now, this is all grouped together as one piece. I want to ungroup it so I can get rid of some of these fists since I only need 2 of the smaller ones. So right here, you can click Ungroup. And now I can select this one, and If I want to delete it, you just click the delete button. And if you want to add more, you can click duplicate, or also you could copy and paste it. And then you can rotate them and then shrink them or make them bigger. But I'm just going to delete these extra ones. And then I want to add the names of my kids in them. So I can go over and click text, and I'm going to type Sierra, and I'm going to change the font to something cuter. I really like this handwritten font, so I'm going to download this one. Just like before, I'm going to click download, open that zip file, double click, and click install. This is such a cute font. Now to get the font from Creative Fabrica into Design Space, all you have to do is refresh the page in Design Space. But before you refresh the page, you want to click Save, because if you refresh it without saving it first, it's going to delete your whole project. So I saved my project. Now I need to reload the page. So to do that, you can click View and then Reload. Now I can click my name and go to the fonts and click System. And when I search for Handwritten, it should be there. Right here. That is super cute. I think that maybe it would look better if the letters were spaced out a little bit more. So if you want to do that, you can click this arrow and it will space the letters out more. Then I want to shrink this down and move it over to where the fist is. So I have a Sierra, and then I need a Barrett. And I'm just gonna space my letters out a little bit, change the color to black. Another thing that I'm gonna do is weld this together, because if I don't, when my Cricut machine cuts it out, it's gonna put a little slice mark in between here. And if you want it to be all one piece, you have to weld it together. Same with Sierra's name, so click Combine and then Weld. So I can shrink Barrett down and move him over here and rotate it. And I'm gonna make it a little bigger. I think that looks super cute. And then right here, I can put Dad. What I'm gonna do next is measure my shirt so that I can see how big I need to make this design. So when I measure my shirts, I like the design to be about halfway between here and here. So I'll go to right about here and put my ruler there. And then the same on this side. So about halfway is where I'm gonna stop. So for me, that's about 14 inches. And then you can take your ruler and turn it. And my design's gonna start about here. So usually like 3 inches below the neckline and probably down to about 10-ish. Now this is a rough estimate, so like 14 by 10, but what I'm gonna do is go over to Design Space and start resizing it. Sometimes my design won't be that exact size, but I'll make it be close to it. So back in Design Space, I'm gonna highlight my whole design and then use this double arrow in the corner to drag it to 14 wide. Now, a moment ago, I said that it's about 14 by 10, but then once I get into Design Space, it might be different. You can see now it's 14 wide, but 7.53 inches long. So your design isn't always gonna match up with the measurements you think. I try to get it as close to within those measurements as I can. In this case, I think the width is more important than the height, So I'm gonna go with the 14 wide by 7.53, just high. Since this is a design that's bigger than 12 inches, you're gonna need to use a longer mat. If you're making a smaller shirt or you only have a 12-inch mat, you can totally shrink this down to just do 12 inches, but I'm gonna go big and do about 14. Then I'm gonna click combine and weld it all together so it's all one big piece that my machine cuts. And then I'm gonna click make it. So right now it's telling me that I need to use the larger mat. Since I'm working with a heat transfer vinyl, I also need to mirror my image. Anytime you're working with heat transfer vinyl, you have to mirror the image. At this point is when I go and cut my vinyl out. I like to do it now because I can see on my mat exactly how big it's gonna be. If I had cut it before at 14, it would have been too short. Now I know I need to cut it at about 14.5, so I have some extra space. So using my Cricut trimmer, I'm gonna swing this open and then slide my roll of heat transfer vinyl in. And I'm gonna cut it at about 14.5. When working with heat transfer vinyl, you'll notice that one side is really shiny and plasticky and the other side is not. When you put this down on your mat, always make sure the shiny side is down. So shiny side down in the upper left-hand corner of your mat. So I'm going to click OK and then continue. The material that I'm using is an everyday iron-on, and now all I have to do is load it into my machine. You want to make sure that there's nothing behind your Cricut machine that the mat is going to get stuck on. So we're just going to let the machine cut for a few minutes and then it's going to be time to weed our project. The Cricut machine just finished cutting out the design. The next thing that I'm going to do is pull this off of the mat and cut away any of the excess vinyl that's still good so I can put it in my scrap pile and use it for future projects. Well, I'm going to peel this up off of my mat for a moment. And then I'm going to cut out my design. So this right here is my design, and all of this is excess material that I can save and use for another project. If I had weeded all of this first, all of this would have gone to waste. We don't want to waste any material. Vinyl is expensive. So I'm going to save this and then stick this back onto my mat. Grab my weeding tool. I always grab it in the corner and then just peel it back. Weeding heat transfer vinyl is so much easier than weeding Oracle 651 vinyl. You don't have to be as careful. You can just kind of rip it off and the stickiness helps keep it in place. Project is all weeded, so now we can pull it up and see how it looks on our shirt. Before I heat press the vinyl onto the shirt, I like to heat press the shirt for about 15 seconds just to get out any wrinkles so the vinyl goes on nice and flat. I'm using the HTVRont Easy Press machine. So I'm going to turn it on and then I need to adjust the temperature to 305. So I can click temperature and then lower it down to 305. Now I just have to wait a few moments for the machine to heat up. This tray right here slides out so I can put the shirt onto here. My machine just got up to temperature, so it's at 305 degrees and the red light on the R turned to green, so now I know it's ready. So I'm going to slide my shirt in and click the R, and now it will start heat pressing. And it counts down automatically, so that's super convenient. And like I said, this is just to get out any wrinkles and make the shirt nice and flat, and any moisture that we don't want will get heat pressed out of there. So it raises on its own, and now I can pull this tray out. Make sure there's no little hairs on it. Sometimes they get little things stuck. Now I'm going to put my design on the shirt. I stuck the heat transfer vinyl to the shirt. Usually I would use a piece of Teflon sheet to go over this, but sometimes with this machine from HTVRont, I have a hard time getting the vinyl to stick on the first try. So I'm going to try doing it without the Teflon sheet. I don't think that it's totally necessary. Just going to slide it in and then push that. Hopefully it'll stick on the first try. Let's see what happens if I try to peel it. Looks like it's sticking pretty well. I think the trick to this heat press machine might be not using the Teflon sheet. So I made some shirts for my kid's birthday party recently, and I had to heat press it like 3 times to get it to stick. But this is sticking fantastic. And once you're done with your machine, you can turn it off. I always unplug it from the wall just to be extra careful, and because I don't need to waste any electricity. And now we have our finished Father's Day shirt.
Thanks for watching. Bye!